incredibly damaging to them. It might show how some of the people on board were shot. 30 people were shot, 9 of them killed. Right? They don't want to release any of that. This is propaganda and spin by releasing these tiny, tiny portions that show something that's beneficial to them for tiny flashes. So now, why do the news organizations throughout the world tolerate this? They should say every time they run one of those videos, if they run them at all, to say that this is completely out of context and that the Israeli government will not release the full tapes, which could show something far more damaging to Israel.
Well, it definitely doesn't help them to gain the trust of the rest of the international community if they're not going to release the full videos, and then they'll say, we'll do our own investigation. Thanks. Cenk, that's all the time we have, but thank you so much for joining me. And we will, I think, see how perhaps this one bloody incident might really get people to start asking questions also about the Gaza blockade that's been going on for 4 years now. All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
What happens after the commandos land on the ship and the Israeli Defense Forces cut the tape a minute into that landing? Well, 9 people wound up dead, 30 people wound up shot, so obviously something must have gone wrong. And they won't release those tapes because, as we find out now from the physical evidence, terrible things happen on board. So what physical evidence do we have, since the Israelis are keeping the tapes? Well, how the people got shot. Turns out an American citizen was on board, and he was killed. His name is Furkan Doğan. He was born in New York and wound up going to Turkey and living most of his life there. Now, a lot of people say, well, he lived in Turkey most of his life. Does that really count? My understanding was what made this country great is that an American citizen is an American citizen, no matter what. Would people have used that excuse if he went to go live in Israel most of his life? Is he really an American? He lived in Israel his whole life. My guess is no, right? So he was on board. Well, what happened to Furkan? He got shot 5 times. Okay, you might say, hey, you know what? There was a melee there. It's hard to tell what happened. Well, he got shot once in the chest and 4 times in the head. Now, what does that tell you? I'll tell you what that tells me. He was executed. Okay, now, the pro-right-wing Israeli people in the crowd go nuts. How can you say that? That's not fair. Really, let's look at the evidence. So you might say, hey, you know what? Maybe it was because he was swinging a club like I saw in that video, and so they had to react. So they shot him once in the chest. Maybe he didn't go down. So then they had to shoot him in the head. Presumably he went down then. But maybe he still posed a threat and got back up, necessitating the Israeli Defense Forces to shoot him in the head again. All right, well, now he's been shot in the head twice and once in the chest. Did he get up again? Okay, let's say he got up again, and then you had to shoot him in the head the 3rd time. Are you really going to make a case that he got up again and he got shot in the head 4 times because it was absolutely necessary for the commandos to defend themselves by shooting him in the head 4 times and once in the chest? All right, let's go to a second possible theory. Maybe in the heat of battle, all of a sudden, he got shot 5 different times at the same time. It wasn't a summary execution. Well, no, you know what? They drew their pistols, and they all shot, and they had great aim. Well, here's a couple of the problems. 1, it was at night. 2, there were no snipers. There were no rifles. They were all shooting with pistols. Are you telling me 5 commandos shot that guy at the same exact time, by coincidence, in the middle of the night with a gun? All right, now, if you still believe that because you're desperate to make rationalizations and excuses for this, they shot him at close range. That's what the evidence shows. No. If you shoot somebody in the chest once and in the head 4 times, what you did was you executed him. Now, an American citizen appears to have been executed by the Israeli Defense Forces. What are we going to do about it? Now, if anybody else had done that, you know what would happen. We'd be near a state of war right now. Can you imagine if Iranians boarded a ship illegally in international waters? They shot 9 people, including an American citizen, and shot the American citizen 4 times in the head. 24/7 on Fox News, we got to go to war. This has to be answered. This is a brutal provocation. We cannot abide by this. What if Hamas had boarded that ship and there were Israelis on board, and they had fought back with clubs and plates and marbles? Would we have blamed the Israelis on board hey, well, look, Hamas was coming in with guns, but why'd you hit them? And then after, you were subdued, why didn't you just surrender to Hamas? Why did you go get yourself shot? Would we allow Hamas to shoot an American citizen 4 times in the head without any response? You know it wouldn't happen under any circumstances. But it was the Israelis who did it, so here's my guess to our reaction. Pretty much not a damn thing. Well, I mean, seriously, literally, like what's going to happen? Will there be at this point, it's absolutely clear, they haven't even put out a statement saying, hey, you know what, we wish you hadn't killed the American citizen. Nope, nothing, okay. You think that they're going to take real action? Like they say, hey, you know what, because you did that, we're going to cut off, we're going to recall your ambassador, or we're going to, cut funding, or we're going to do X or Y diplomatically. Yeah, good luck waiting on that. See how it turns out. How many American citizens could the Israeli Defense Forces have killed and gotten away with? Could they have executed 3 American citizens? 12 American citizens? Would it have made a difference if that American citizen had actually stayed in New York his whole life instead of moving at the age of 2? I don't know. Would it have made a difference if he was Swedish American rather than Turkish American? Irish American rather than Turkish American? I don't know. I don't know what gets a reaction out of the American government to say to the Israeli government, hey, you know what, we wish you hadn't killed one of our people. I'm still waiting. And by the way, correct me if I'm wrong, have you heard Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton come out there and say, we are outraged at what happened to our citizen? Outraged. Yeah, you keep waiting, see how that turns out for you. There will be a milquetoast statement sometime tomorrow probably saying, we deeply regret and we have concerns about, okay, don't do it again next time. The next time you execute an American citizen, we'll get really upset. Okay. This is crazy, man. I mean, look, why do you think we think the Israeli government can do anything it pleases? Anything at all. They have absolute immunity. You know the immunity idol from Survivor? They have it forever. Okay? They can do anything they like. I mean, literally, what else? What else could they do for us to have a negative reaction?